welcome back to View. As you have guessed from the title, in this video we are going to create an agentic AI platform that is going to be like a personalized newsletter for you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a personalized news aggregator platform where you are going to aggregate the tech related news, and then according to your own categorizations, the keywords that you want to read the news about, it is going to be sent in your email inboxes. But in this video, what basically we are going to do is we are going to automate all this process, like from aggregating the news from the different sources on Google or on the browser, and then according to your own preferences, according to your own keywords categorization, you are going to get those category news, those keywords related news in your inboxes. Now all of this is going to be automated. So yes, this is going to be like an agentic AI platform where you can chat with this platform about the news. So, for example, news intrigued you, like something about ChatGPT that has been recently launched that you want to know about. You can just ask the chat about, tell me about this, and that chat is going to summarize that content, that news for you. I'm going to also give you the detail and, of course, walk you through the platform. Everything from login, from sign up to creating the chat endpoints to automating all this process till you have the personalized news in your inboxes. And for the tech stack, we are basically going to use Python as the backend. And we are also going to create the API documentation with the help of Fast API. Okay, for database, we are going to use SQLAlchemy, and for front end, in this video, we are just going to go with basic HTML and CSS. But of course, if you like to work on with React, you can just adjust it according to your preferences. It's not going to be that hard, okay? So the key feature for this video is going to be first, personalized news digest tailored according to your own interest, according to the keywords that you are going to give to our platform. Second, automated email notification with the personalized HTML templates. Third, you can customize when you want these email in your inboxes on daily basis, weekly or monthly basis. Not monthly, but yeah, on weekly basis. So you can customize your preference. And fourth, we are going to create a personalized dashboard where you can manage your preferences, your news, the send digest, everything in that dashboard. Okay? And yes, fifth one, a chat endpoint where you can chat with this platform to know about the news, to know about the summaries of news. Okay? Last but not the least, a developer page where you can test the API endpoints in real time with the parameters and so on. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go ahead and build this platform one by one. And yes, if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, if you want to optimize this, find its GitHub repository, or connect with me, all the links are given in the description. Okay, so let's get going. So now that we have covered the introduction, let's now take a closer look at our project's architecture. And here in this diagram, you can see our high-level system architecture. So in this, our system has been divided into several components. So the first one being the web interface. This is going to be the main entry point, which is handled by webapp.py. This is also going to serve the HTML pages that user interact with, like our digest dashboard and the subscription pages. Okay. Next, we have the RESTful API endpoints. Now, these API includes the endpoints for user authentication, like user registration, login, token management, and also the digest operations such as preview and sending personalized news. All of these are going to be defined in webapp.py. Then we have the email service. Now our email delivery is managed by the email service, which is going to be in the email service.py file. This component is going to handle all the SMTP interaction, and it is going to use the professional HTML templates to send the personalized digest. We are also going to have a schedule for automated deliveries. Now this is going to be taken care by our schedule service, which is going to be configured in the schedule service.py file. Now this is going to help you trigger the email notification on daily, weekly basis, okay? Which is going to ensure that the user receives the timely updates without any manual actions needed. And for the database, we are going to have the SQLite database, in which we are going to store the user and their preferences, the articles and the categories that we are going to scrap from the browser, and the digest logs, okay? So this is going to tell you how many emails have been sent to the user and when they have been sent, all the details included. And for the AI categorization, we are going to classify the news based on keywords. Like if you want a news about AI, it is going to be stored into AI category. Also, it is going to have the relevance score. Then we are also going to have the multiple categories, not just the AI. So basically, yes, this is our architecture for this project. Now let's go ahead and I'll walk you through the code. But before that, I would suggest you go to the GitHub repository, clone it into your system, and then walk with me through the code as I explain what the code does. The link is in the description. So now before I give you the code walkthrough, let me show you our platform first. As I said, clone this repository and then open it into your VS Code. Then here you can see that I am already into a virtual environment, and to activate into your environment, what you have to do is run this command. Now this is going to be different for you all. You have to get the source of your project where this tech news agent folder is into your source, then add this to it, bnb, which is going to be this folder. Inside it we have the bin folder, and we are going to activate this. But as my virtual environment has already been activated, so I don't have to do this. After this, we have to start the app, for which we have this command. So then we are going to hit enter, and this is going to start our application on the port 8000. So let's go there. And here you can see that we are on the port 8000, and this is our application. But if we go back to the VS Code, you are going to see that the categories already exist because these are the previous categories, and we have processed 0 new articles and the categorized are 0. So what we have to do is we have to scrape all the recent news for today with the command, which is going to be this python scrapers techcrunch.py. Now where this is, let me show you. In the scrapers folder, you have this file, which is going to help us scrape the recent news available on the internet, okay? We'll go through this file afterwards, but let's first scrape the new news. And you can see it has fetched 20 entries from the TechCrunch RSS feed. Now, you might get this error because we are using Together AI API because it has limited number of queries. In the end, you can see it has done writing the articles. So let me just start the app again. But if you are using ChatGPT or something, you are not going to get these errors. And let's reload the app. Let's go back to the port 8000. And here you can see these are the new news available right now. You can see that we have so many news, but these are the old ones. The new ones are above over here. You can see Wednesday 20 August, okay? To subscribe to the digest, you have to click on this subscribe to digest button. Here you have to register yourself, then log in. So let's do it right now. Let me use this as the email, and for the password, the same. You can provide the full name if you want, and then let's create account and subscribe. Account created successfully, and it is going to redirect you to the dashboard. But here you also have to log in. So go to the login page. Here click on login, provide the email and the password, then click on login. You are successfully logged in, and here you can see your digest dashboard. Here we have 100 plus article available with 10 categories. The categories are over here, okay? And your subscriptions are 0 as of right now, and the digest sent or the email sent are also 0. Here you can adjust your daily digest if you want the news to be in your inbox daily, or weekly summary, or instant breaking news if you want that. You can set the time whenever you want to get the email, time zone, whichever time zone you are selecting, then you can click on save preference. I'm just going to go with these right now. Then the interest categories, you can select on AI, startup and funding. And for the custom keywords, let's give OpenAI. And then when we add subscription, the new subscription for the OpenAI will be added, okay? You can click on generate preview to see how it is going to be sent to the email. And this is how it is going to be sent. But if you want to send the digest now, we have to click on send digest now. You can see here we have got the notification digest sent successfully, and we can now check the email too. And I also got the notification on my mobile. So yes, let's check the email now. And here in the email, you can see your email with the name because you entered the full name, right? So here you have your daily tech digest with the 3 news that you are interested in, okay? And if we go back to our website, you are going to see here the delivery history now shows that the 1 daily digest was sent at this time period, and there were 3 articles that were sent. And also, if you want to log out, you can just click on the logout here. If you want to remove the subscription of the OpenAI, you can do so by just clicking on remove. No custom subscriptions now yet you have. If you want to update the categories, you can just do so here, okay? And yes, that is what we are going to have for the digest dashboard. And for developers, if you want to test the endpoints, we have several endpoints in this application, like for registering, for logging in the user, to get your preferences. You can even put your preferences, update the digest preferences, get the preview, which I showed you right now, and also get the articles which have been personalized. Now, these are not only just the endpoints, we have several endpoints. So you can visit /docs. Let's do that right now. And here you have these endpoints in your system. We have built this system with the help of OpenAPI.json. And let me show you an example how these endpoints are. So for the first one, that is the registration endpoint, you can see its schema. We are going to provide the email, password, and the full name, which I showed you right now, right? And to try it out, you can test it over here. Click on try it out. And you see, you have these as the email, password, full name. You can change this if you want, something like this. And then let's click on execute. And you see here we got the code as 200. And this was the response. The ID, full name is active, daily digest, the time, and everything over here. And the request URL was at this endpoint /auth, then register. And this was the link, the curl link. You can test this out in the Postman app too if you have on your system, or just test it over here. So this is how we have the docs endpoint, where you can test every endpoint that is into your system. And all this is possible because of fast API and OpenAPI.json. So now that we are done with the dashboard, the docs endpoint. Now we are going to try out the chat endpoint. For that, we have to go to the chat endpoint. But let's now just have this. You can now talk to Google Photos to make your edits. So let's go to the chat endpoint, and here let's ask it about the Google News about talking with photos. You can write it. Tell me about of talking with photos, something just like this. And then let's hit send, and it is going to give us the summary of that. Here we have the summary. If you want more information about anything else, you can just type in detail of top 5 news today. Let's type this, and here we have the detailed top 5 news stories from the information provided. So over here you can see that we have just 3 news given by this AI. It is because we have set the token number to be in the limited amount. But if you are using some else platform like ChatGPT where you can increase the token, then it is going to give you all the 5 news. So yes, that is what our chat endpoint does. Okay, so now that we have the demo of our platform, let's go ahead and walk through the code, because that is important to understand what our code is doing. Okay, so for the code, we are going to start with the techcrunch.py file. Now this file is responsible for fetching the articles that are present on the TechCrunch website, and we are scraping it from their RSS feed, and then we are processing them and also generating an AI summary from the news. And then we save the results as the markdown file and JSON files, which you can see in this data folder and inside the summaries folder. These are the summaries of the news that we are gathering from the TechCrunch website. So in this file, at the start, we start off by importing the common modules. Then we also have a helper function, which is the slugified text. This converts the title to a URL friendly slug. Then over here, we have a function which is the extract image URL. We are here finding the media content or media thumbnail in their RSS entry. Then we scan it for the HTML embedded in summary or the content for the image tag. If none of these works, what we do is we fetch the article page and try to find an image if it is present in the article. So to find the image, we are using this OG image meta tag, and this is also the fallback. The first image in the HTML will be the image that will be shown in our dashboard. And here we are using the Together AI API by sending a post request with the prompt. And if the API key isn't set or any error occurs, we are going to return an empty string or log a error. Then we have another function which is the fetch and save the TechCrunch articles. Here we are going into their RSS feed to fetch all the articles, and then we are saving it into our directory which is data and then in summaries. This is going to extract the title, link, summary, publish date, and also the image URL using the helper function. And it also calls the getLLM summary together to generate an AI summary for the article. And for each article, the function here is going to write the 2 files into our summaries directory. One is going to be the markdown file, which is going to contain article title, publish date, the link, AI summary, and full summary. And the JSON is going to contain the metadata, title, link, summary, when it is published, image URL, and the AI summary in the structured format. And finally, at the last, we print confirmation, which you saw in the terminal when we were scraping this data. It said done writing articles when all this process is done. So this is what we have in the techcrunch.py file. And next we are going to go and look at different services that we have in our platform: categorization, digest service, and the email service. So let's start with categorization service. Here we basically implement the logic for an article categorization. In this file, what we basically do is we extract the keywords from the article's text, score each article's relevance to its predefined categories, and then sync new articles from the JSON files into the database with their associated categories. So here we have a class initialization, and the setup, our class is named as content categorizer. So this class is initialized with a cache for categories so that we can avoid the redundant database queries. And we also have a set of stop words which will be used to filter out common words during the keywords extractions. Then we have the category handling. We have the get categories. It is going to retrieve all the category objects from our database and cache them. Every category is likely to have a list of keywords to determine its relevance. I'm going to tell you how we process the text and the keywords. So for first, the keywords, that is the text, we are going to use regex to find all the words with at least 3 letters from the given input. We are of course converting it to lowercase, and then remove any common stop words that we have defined over here. And then we calculate its relevance score. So here we compare the keyword that is extracted from the article, suppose from the title, summary or AI summary, to a category set of keywords. So what it does, it gives 2 points for an exact keyword match and 1 point if the keyword is found anywhere in the text. And after counting the matches, it calculates a normalized score on the scale of 1 to 10, and if no keyword matches, the score is going to be 0. Then we have how do we categorize the article, this function. Here we construct a combined text string, iterate through all the categories that we are going to get with the help of getCategories function, which we have defined above. Also calculate the relevance score for each category, keep the category of a score 3 or above, and then return the top 3 categories over here, sorted by their relevance. Then we want to sync the articles from our files. So in this function, we have a method that looks for JSON files in a summaries directory, which we have into the data folder, and for each JSON file, it is going to read the article's data. And if article already exists in our database, we are going to create a new article record, and then we use the categorize article to determine which category with its score relevant to it should be linked to this article. For every relevant match, we are going to create an article category relationship and then commit all the changes to the database, logging the number of processed and the categorized article. Then we want to event retrieve the article. So we have 2 functions for it, get articles by the category and get articles by the keyword. So the get article by category is going to retrieve article from the database for a given category, ordering them by the relevance score and what was its creation date, when was it created basically. Then the get articles by keyword, this is to search for articles whose title, summary, AI summary match all the list of keywords. It is going to use the SQLAlchemy for case insensitive partial matching, and every duplicate articles are going to be removed. Then over here we have the global instance categorizer, which is an instance of the content categorizer. This is going to be used by the helper functions. And we have categorize new article and sync article function. These functions are going to create the temporary database session to categorize a single article or to sync all of the articles from the file. And this is like the main execution block. So you can run this file with the command python categorisation -service, not dash but underscore service.py, and this script is going to call the sync article function to process new JSON files found in the summaries directory and update our database accordingly. And then next up we have the digest service. This file is responsible for generating and sending the personalized news digest based on daily, weekly basis, or if you want to have an instant notification. So we import the modules, then we have a function for the get user interest. It is going to retrieve the list of categories a user is interested in. And if user have not specified their any of the interest, this service is going to fall back to all the available categories that it has. Then we have the get articles for user. So if you remember in the demo, we also added a custom keyword that was ChatGPT, I think. Yes, so the custom keyword is this. If user want to get the article for their custom interest, they can do so with the help of this get article for user function. And it is also going to get the articles of users interest, the categories that they might have selected. Here we have the should send digest. This is going to check if the user is eligible to receive a digest. How they are eligible? It is going to check if in their settings or whether the digest have already been sent within the configured time they have selected. For daily digest, midnight, or for weekly within the 7 days. It is going to check in that timeline, time frame. Then we have these two functions, generate daily digest or generate weekly digest. These are going to fetch the relevant articles with the help of get articles for user function, which we have defined above. If article exists, they are going to send it to the email service to generate the email subject and the HTML content. And then email is going to be sent synchronously, and digest log is going to create a log whether the email was successfully sent. And over here we have the sending methods. So yes, overall what we are doing in this file is we are creating the logic needed to filter out, assemble, and distribute the personalized news digest to the user based on their interest and the recent article that our scraper has scraped from the internet. It is also going to log how many times the digest have been sent, so you can monitor and even look over how the email delivery process is being conducted. Next, we have the email service file. This is going to handle the creation of HTML email templates and also send the emails either synchronously or asynchronously. So to get the daily digest template, we have different kind of HTML, okay? And to get the weekly digest template, we have different HTML template for that also, which we have defined in email service file. And here that you see that generate digest email, it is going to calculate the total number of articles, select the correct template, whether you have selected the weekly or the daily template, and then return both the subject line and render the HTML content from either one of those from here. For sending the email asynchronously, this is going to build a MIME multi-part email with an HTML path and send it over a secure connection. And to send the email synchronously, this is going to use the Python's standard SMTP library to send the emails synchronously. Similar to async email, this is also going to construct a MIME multi-part message. It is going to be sent with the TLS encryption, logs in, and then send the message. For instant notification, this is going to be specialized for like a breaking news. It is going to build a short HTML email with the Jinja2 template and send it with the synchronous method. Okay, so I hope you understood this. So overall, this file is conducting all the logic needed to format, render, and deliver the personalized email content. Perfect. Now we are going to look at how we are testing this application, because testing this system is really important. So we have different test files over here. The test SMTP py file, this is the script test to test your SMTP configuration by sending a test email. It verifies that the required settings, SMTP settings, are present, and it also connects securely using the TLS, sends an email with the both plain text and HTML part, and it is also going to provide any errors if it might appear. This is going to be logged into the console. Then next we have the test digest system.py file. This script is going to run an automated end-to-end test of your digest system. It is going to walk through steps like registering the user, which is over here, to testing, logging in the user, then getting the available categories, then updating the user preference, then creating a custom keyword subscription. Then it is also going to test your preview daily digest. Another test is to get the personalized article. Another test to get all the available articles. Test 9, which is to try by sending the digest if articles are available. Okay, so these files are supporting both automated and even the manual testing for your digest and email delivery workflows, so that we can ensure that the configuration are correct and the user flow works as expected. And of course, we also have the requirements.txt file where you have all the requirements listed which we are using in this application. And to install the requirements, what you have to do is you have to run this command: pip install -r requirements.txt, and this is going to install every package that we have listed in this file. Okay, and next we go over the authentication file over here, which is present into the app folder. So this file is basically used for implementing the authentication and user management for your application. So in this file, we use the crypt context to hash the passwords and verify the plain text password, retrieve user from the database by their email, authenticate a user by comparing the provided password to the stored hash, then define the secret key with the help of algorithm, this one, HS256, and token expiry setting. So if you go over this file, you are just going to get what this file is doing. We are verifying the password, getting the password hashed, that is hashed password, get the user by their email, authenticate the user by their email, okay, and we also create the access token with also the expiration date for it to get the current authenticated user. And here we also check if the user already exists, so it is not going to create another user with the same email. Okay, this is going to give you an error by saying that email already registered. So this is what auth file does. Then we have the config file, important one. This is going to be the configuration setting for our application. Here we are loading the environment variables from the .env file, and here we also configured the API key for Together AI platform. We are bringing its API key from the .env file, and of course a directory, that is TechCrunch. So here we are doing this to map source names like the TechCrunch to their corresponding RSS feed URLs. Then we have the database file. This file is basically setting up our database connection and configuration using the SQLAlchemy, and also initialize the database schema and its default data. The getDB function that you see over here is a fast API dependency, which is going to yield a database session and ensure that it is properly closed after its use. Then we have the init database function, which is going to create all the database tables that are needed based on the metadata which we have defined in our models file, and check if the default categories exist. So like if the category is artificial intelligence, it is not going to go on and create another category. No, this is just going to join the keywords in this category. And yes, that is most of the work here. And at last, we run the script init database, which is here, to initialize the database and start the default category data. So here we are writing the logic about connecting the database, creating the schema, and initializing the data. And then we have the models file where we define the database schema for every category, for every table that we are going to create. So in the model file, we are going to define the database schema for our application using SQLAlchemy. Here we are going to have the user model, category model, article model, articles category model, user subscription, and then digest log model, and even the notification log model. So for the users table, you're going to have the ID, email, their hashed password, full name if provided, are they active, is verified, or when they were created at. So for the user table, we have this schema, but for the categories table, we have different schema. You can go over these. These are just simple, like creating the tables for every keyword, for user, for categories, for articles, and so on. Then we have this file, the run scheduler file. So this script is basically meant to run continuously in the background so that your scraper executes automatically at the desired designated time. There is nothing much to this file. Then we have scheduler service file. So basically this file is used for scheduling your task. Suppose you want to schedule the digest sending at 9 a.m. every day, or you want it to the weekly basis, or you want to synchronize your article and even log the jobs, the messages, that errors that it might produce sometimes, okay? So yes, that is what we have for this file. And then we have the schema file. This is going to define the collection of models, schema, used throughout our application for request validation and even response formatting. So here we basically organize our data into several groups, such as the authentication schema, category schema, article 1 and subscription 1, preference, the digest schema, and even the dashboard schema. So overall, these schemas are going to add structure and validation to incoming and outgoing data in our fast API application. This is going to ensure we have consistency between the client request and also the database responses. And last but not the least, our main file, which is webapp.py file. At first, we import the different libraries and the packages, and next we import the new models. Then we also load the environment variables from our .env file, and to give the heading to our app, over here we have this. And we have several endpoints here. Here we have defined most of our endpoints to register, to get the token, to get the current user information, to get the categories endpoint, preference endpoint, put preference endpoint to put the user's preferences. Then we have the subscription endpoint if you have subscribed to any of the new keywords, and if so, get the subscription. And if you want to delete, as we saw in the demo, when we tried to delete the ChatGPT's subscription, it got removed from the database. So this is what this does. Then for the digest endpoint, to preview the digest, you have the get endpoint. To send the digest, you have the post endpoint. And to get the digest history, you have the get endpoint. For articles also, you have get all of the articles, get personalized articles for you specifically. Then we also have the dashboard endpoint where you saw your full dashboard with all the different endpoints, right? Then this is our main page, the news feed page. It gets all of the news available on our platform. Last, we have the chat endpoint to chat with our platform about the different news that you want to know more about. And then we have the chat post endpoint. You have any questions, you are going to send it to the platform. So that is what we use app.post/chat endpoint for. And we also have an endpoint to test manually every endpoints that we have. It is like the digest system manual testing interface. Here you can see the server status is saying that server is running. Let me show you. If we close this, let's stop this, and if we reload, you are going to get this message: server is not accessible, failed to fetch. But let's start server again, refresh it, and it says server is running. So let's register this user. Let's copy this, provide the same password and the full name to be this, register. You saw it registered. For a blink, it just gave you that response. Then let's try to log in, and yes, you can see your access token, token type, and here the token is given. Here you can see it is JWT with separated dot, 3 parts of the JWT, if you know. Then for this user, if we want to get all the categories, here we have the 10 categories. So let's click on get my profile. You can see this is your profile, and update the preference. If you don't want the 9th one, you want the 10th one. Let's click on update preference. It was updated. So let's click on then get my preferences. Please log in first. Let's log in again. It refreshes it. I don't know why. And then click on get references. You can see 1, 3 and 10. Even though it shows 1, 3 and 9 because these are the default values, but here you can see 1, 3 and 10, the interested categories that you are interested in. Then click on get my subscription. Okay, first we have to create the subscription. So let's create, and then click on get my subscription. It says please log in first. Let's log in again. Then click on get my subscription, and here it is active. It was created at this time. Keywords were OpenAI, ChatGPT, LLM, which were by default, I think. Yes. Here we have the default keywords. Get all the articles. It is going to bring you all the articles present. Get personalized article. You can just test this out. And even the digest, preview daily digest, preview weekly digest. So yes, this is your digest system manual testing interface, where you can test your personalized digest and even the APIs. That is what we have for this video. You can get this code. It is available on the GitHub repository. Link is in the description. You can check that out, optimize it according to your own needs, try it out, use React or any other framework that you love with this, and let me know how it went, okay? If you have any doubts, comment them out below. I will be happy to help. Alright, so now I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.